to Shelf Help, a channel dedicated to talking to the void about whatever book I happen to be reading. I'm your host, the reader. The following review will contain spoilers. Generally, when I reach for supernatural romance, I'm looking for a bit of escapism because life is being hard, not a book that brings up hard moral questions. 5 years ago, the four horsemen appeared and all technology failed. Then they vanished once more. Now Pestilence rides again. Everywhere he goes, a plague follows. First fever, then boils that burst open, your flesh literally rotting as you slowly die. It is 100% infection rate and 100% fatality rate. It is a slow, painful way to go. Shockingly, Sarah is not the first one to try and stop him. After the arrival of the horsemen ruined her chance to go to college to study literature, she became a firefighter. With Pestilence approaching their small Canadian town, they draw lots to see who will stay and try to kill the monster. Sarah draws the short straw. On the plus side, Pestilence can be killed. On the downside, staying dead is a different matter. She shoots him off his horse, douses him in lighter fluid, and burns him down to nothing but bones. Next morning, he is pissed, and mostly better. He takes her prisoner and forces her to run behind his horse. She does okay the first day, less so the second day. When she sees a chance to escape, she takes it, only to have Pestilence shoot her with 2 arrows, forcing her to run until she falls and then dragging her nearly to death. As you might have guessed at this point, this is an enemies to lovers. Pestilence says he's keeping her alive to make an example of her, but he does not really grasp how fragile she is compared to him. With each pause to let Sarah heal and rest, he finds he kinda likes her company. She teaches him about food and poetry and the small pleasures of being human. In turn, she starts to see him as more than just a monster. He does not like watching people die, even though he is the one killing them. And most of his interactions with humanity have been negative, reinforcing his belief that we're all evil. That said, he does not stop spreading the plague. He invades people's homes to provide for Sarah and gives the people living there the plague, often hanging around long enough for Sarah to watch them slowly die. Even children. Even a couple that welcomed them and prayed for them. Prayed for the horseman of the apocalypse because his job is hard. Congratulations on being literally the nicest people who have ever existed. And Pestilence, absolutely zero clue he's the bad guy. Also, we kind of whistle past the whole God thing, and that's really a hard tune to carry. The best we get is that all the books are mostly wrong and written by men, which brings up a lot of questions. Pestilence, as charged by God, holds that all people are evil for we have destroyed the earth and yada yada yada. He holds us all equally to blame. Every man, every woman, even every child, rich or poor, black or white. We all hold equal responsibility. Which isn't really true. There's no ethical consumption under capitalism. I want my meat humanely raised and my grains fair trade. Those foods are more expensive than their less ethical counterparts. Ensuring ethical sourcing for food requires a level of privilege most people just don't have. The problem persists because a small number of very rich people want to become even richer. As a parent, living in poverty in an urban food desert, your personal morals about where your food comes from are going to have to take a back seat to feeding your kids. That is the wild concept about morality. Two opposing forces can both be moral and correct and still in opposition with each other. And that is before we get into the idea that there is a supernatural God entity that somehow expects things from humanity it never conveyed until it brought down the apocalypse hammer. Then still did not feel the need to explain itself and sends a second apocalypse because we have not met its unstated demands. Plus, okay, look. This is supernatural romance. Yes, it got my brain spinning with questions of morality and the possibility of a divine being imposing its own standard on humanity. But really, this is a story about a woman teaching the ethereal concept of disease in the shape of a man about love, compassion, mercy, and forgiveness, and stopping the apocalypse by opening the gates to her Garden of Eden. Pestilence comes to Earth with a singular purpose and a one-dimensional concept of humanity, and humanity quickly proves him right. Not because we are bad as a whole, but because he was a monster committing genocide, while thinking himself the hero. He spares no one, not even children. A parent will do a lot of terrible, immoral things to save their child from a slow, painful death. So is it good? Well, I think that greatly depends on what you're asking of it. The very nature of this beast of revelation makes it hard to completely sidestep some of the big questions. And I am absolutely the type of person to chase those proverbial rabbits. A lot of those questions aren't just not addressed, they're outright ignored. But let's be clear. This is a story about fucking an angel so hard he defies God. While there are questions that it can't avoid, it's not digging deep either. I'm going to put this on my second shelf. I believe in judging a book by what it is, not what I want it to be. This is a monster fucker. While I would love for it to ask the hard questions, it would distract from the romance. And while it skates through the shallow end of the moral questions pool, it is fun. Which is kind of strange to say, considering how it starts. Thank you for your time. I know everyone's mileage will vary, so feel free to leave your thoughts.